It's a brand new day again. The sun rises as usual, accompanied by the chirping of insects. Skeleton Soldier looked. He was pleasantly surprised by the brand new armor. Ron handed him another sword. He took it and examined it carefully. Then he raised the sword to test it, and said with satisfaction, "Not bad." Just as the two were talking, Alice came in, peeking around. She saw Skeleton Soldier and was taken aback for a moment. Clearly, she still hadn't recovered from last night's bold confession. She also did not get a response from Skeleton Soldier. She quickly turned her head away, feeling a bit embarrassed. Ron was a bit confused by the awkward situation. They all tacitly fell into silence. Skeleton Soldier sheathed the sword. Ron asked him what his plans were afterward. He said he might go to explore various dungeons. Immediately, Ron extended an olive branch to him, wanting to recruit him. He invited him to join the TT Guild. He then described the numerous benefits of joining the guild, stating that Alice wouldn't be able to obtain the advanced intel, but he can obtain it through an upgrade. You can obtain it by becoming a full member. Ron described the future plans to Skeleton Soldier with a smile on his face. "You will surely be an outstanding member. My vision has always been good." Skeleton Soldier pondered for a few seconds. He declined. "I am wild and free-spirited. I've never liked being confined." Ron expressed regret upon hearing this. Skeleton Soldier turned to Alice and said, "Having her is enough for me. We'll rely on her for intelligence from now on." Alice might understand it differently after hearing it. Her face turned as red as an apple. Skeleton Soldier asked, "Alice, how can I become a full member?" Ron indicated that there are two ways. One is to complete a commission, and the other is to make a donation. Upon hearing that donations could be made, Skeleton Soldier asked Alice to take out the previous loot. A pile of glittering gold coins appeared before Ron. "Is this enough?" Ron said, "That's enough." Suddenly, there was a ding. What kind of prompt would pop up in the window? To be continued. As the ding sounded, a notification for a plot update popped up in the window. Alice leveled up. Next, Alice and Ron. They started going through the level up process. The Skeleton Soldier paid no attention to their conversation, meticulously studying the pop-up notifications. But Ron's mention of Amber City caught his attention. "Wait, did you say Amber City?" "In my impression, Amber City is famous. Port City and Industrial City. It's 20 years ago. Before long, Amber City will be embroiled in the war between the Imperial Army and the Allied forces. This war will last for 9 years. Although it is a neutral country, it is not aligned with either side. It incurred the wrath of many. Caught between the forces of both sides, the first target of the Imperial Army." Then Skeleton Soldier asked, "What does promoting members have to do with Amber City?" Ron indicated that it was confidential, but he told him anyway. They have a branch of their labor union there. Skeleton Soldier considered for a moment. Should he subtly hint at it? The situation is urgent now. If the Empire starts invading the United Nations, Amber City will become a stepping stone. This probably counts as encountering a major crisis, right? Ron said, "That's indeed the case. Whether in terms of geographical location or politics, Amber City is a stumbling block for the Empire. However, we also have corresponding plans." Skeleton Soldier wanted to continue asking about the details of the plan, but Ron interrupted him, indicating not to continue asking further. Then he asked again, "What are the conditions for Alice to be promoted to Vice President?" "His primary goal. It is to help Alice get promoted. That way, she can help herself more." Ron pondered for a moment. He said that if the Skeleton Soldier is willing to help Alice complete more difficult tasks, perhaps she could get a promotion quickly in a short period of time. Alice felt it was too risky after hearing it, and was somewhat reluctant. and Ron returned the choice to Skeleton Soldier. He looked at the pop-up window in front of him. Without any hesitation, he decisively accepted. Like and follow. The host of the martial arts tournament, Ramon, is presiding over the opening ceremony. His words are fiery and impassioned. Experts from all over have gathered today. At this tournament, which has sparked countless discussions, we will select the person with the highest martial arts skills. Who will the victory go to? Everyone, just wait and see. Ramon's speech is outstanding. He ignited the audience's enthusiasm. Cheers and applause arose one after another. Some were talking to each other. Others watched with cold eyes. The exciting moment had arrived. The audience was full of anticipation. The first contestant appeared on stage. This was a strong man who liked to use a hammer to hit people's chests. A member of the Steel Mercenary Group. The host introduced him with great enthusiasm. NPC Smasher makes a strong debut. Even with numerous supporters cheering for him, he still can't hide the look of someone destined to be cannon fodder. His opponent, on the other hand, is a first-timer, participating in the martial arts tournament. The mysterious warrior fighting for the Traku family, Zack, accompanied by the cheers of the audience. We Skeleton Soldiers as well. The first time having a name. I walked to the arena with my head held high. I'm still a bit unaccustomed to the new name. The host then said, "Please get ready." The first match officially began. Both participants were gearing up. Skeleton Soldier drew his sword to face the opponent. Hammer Guy had a look of disdain. "Do you think a mere rookie can dare to fight me?" Immediately following the host's signal to start, Hammer Guy was seen swinging his hammer. He charged at Skeleton Soldier. He prepared to deliver a one-hit kill with his hammer. Skeleton Soldier stood still without dodging. Hammer Guy pushed off with both feet and immediately jumped. He raised the iron hammer and leaped down. Then, there was a thunderous boom. To know what happens next, stay tuned. Let's turn back time to when the Skeleton Soldier was still at the guild branch. The Skeleton Soldier was holding an invitation letter. Ron introduced the contents of the invitation letter to him. A commission sent from the Traku family. They are looking for a mercenary to compete in the tournament on their behalf. Skeleton Soldier is somewhat puzzled. Such a large family doesn't even have a mercenary capable of participating in the tournament? Ron explained, solving the puzzle. They made their fortune in the leather business, so they're busy making money and building their enterprise. They don't have time to train knights. Probably this commission is also because of that. To appease the event organizers, perhaps? The event organizers are actually the lords of the Atla region. Skeleton Soldier thought, isn't that Ruby's uncle? It is very possible that he is the one who killed Ruby. He is the mastermind behind it. This is a rare opportunity. Like and follow. After Ron briefly introduced the competition rules, he inquired about Skeleton Soldier's intentions. How about it? Are you interested? Do you even need to ask? Of course, we have to go. Skeleton Soldier set off with Alice on a cart for hauling grass. Alice sat beside, absent-minded and uneasy. Skeleton Soldier was contemplating whether to eliminate Atla Lord. At this moment, Alice asked the question she had always wanted to know, about the girl. The girl who bought you the armor. What is your relationship exactly? Skeleton Soldier was vague, saying that it doesn't matter. Alice then asked what kind of person she was. Skeleton Soldier continued to answer perfunctorily. Don't know how to describe it. I guess her, Alice said with a smile. I guess she must be a charming person. If she asked the same question, I wonder if your answer would be different. Skeleton Soldier knows what she said. It's the confession from that night. He turned his head and decisively said no. My answer is the same. I still have an important mission. Alice felt a bit sad after hearing this. As the two talked, they also reached their destination. The entrance of the martial arts tournament was bustling with activity. A long line was formed. Alice exclaimed, "As expected of the grand event." They heard the old man at the registration booth shouting, "Those who have received the invitation, hurry up and register." The two of them arrived at the registration booth. Skeleton Soldier took out the invitation and indicated their identity. The old man searched through the roster. "Ah, found it. From the Traco family." "What is your name?" This question stumped Skeleton Soldier. He didn't even know what his name was. He then asked, "Do I have to report it?" The old man said strictly, "Yes, you must." After getting the answer, Skeleton Soldier fell into deep thought. The old man looked at him, not reporting his name, and became somewhat suspicious. Alice was anxiously pacing back and forth. He wanted to brush it off, indicating that he was somewhat shy. The old man's suspicion grew heavier and heavier. In this extremely tense atmosphere, Skeleton Soldier reported its name. "My name is Zack." He was wiping his sword. He recalled the reason for this name. Taking advantage of human weakness. He is cannon fodder at the lowest level of the Demon King's army. A being like you. Anywhere in the city. Skeleton Soldier turned to look at the bookshelf. He actually saw the phantom image of Ruby, sitting on a ladder flipping through a book. Is it an illusion? At this moment, Ruby looked at the book with unparalleled gentleness, without a trace of the worldly air. Skeleton Soldier stared at her in a daze. At this moment, the administrator's voice interrupted this beautiful scene. They found a novel. Skeleton Soldier took it and looked at it. Sure enough, it was that familiar name. But when he looked up again, Ruby's phantom had disappeared. Only mottled golden light remained. The administrator saw the book that had fallen to the ground and picked it up, dusting off the dirt. Sure enough, after that person left, no one came to the library. The sudden sound from the Skeleton Soldier startled the librarian. The librarian then returned to a calm expression and said, "I spoke out of turn. Just return the book before you leave." She ignored Skeleton Soldier's attempts to make her stay and left quickly. It seems there is an unknown secret here. The person she mentioned must be Ruby. Skeleton Soldier began to flip through the contents of the book. Skeleton Soldier was completely immersed in reading. Time passed quickly. The book discussed insights about time. Reading it felt like going through essays. Alice suddenly appeared. "The room has been arranged. Let's go back." He disengaged from the ocean of knowledge. Just as he closed the book, a familiar window suddenly popped up in front of him. This time study increased his intelligence by 10 points and got a new skill, insight. He looked at the window and began to think. Meanwhile, Alice urged him to hurry back. Just as he was about to leave, a ringing sound caught his attention. Next to Alice, her status bar was displayed. It seems this is the effect of the insight skill. But it seems like something is missing in the status bar? Why isn't there intelligence? After a night's rest, the martial arts tournament was held as scheduled on the second day. Skeleton Soldier practiced swordsmanship outside the field, seeing if he could level up. Alice hurriedly ran over to call him into the field. The two had just entered. They immediately heard Ramon introducing the organizer. Skeleton Soldier looked up towards that high place, only to see that lord's face full of disdain. A completely indifferent look, as if watching a play. Alice, standing by, exclaimed twice in surprise. Skeleton Soldier, however, was enraged upon seeing his enemy. The cold armor concealed him. He wanted to tear his enemy's heart apart. But at this moment, he had to endure. As Ramon announced the beginning, the match also commenced. Skeleton Soldier is in the audience seats, watching the warriors fight below. She snacked while asking about the prize for the competition. It was a decorative sword with a Lord badge. Skeleton Soldier didn't quite understand after hearing it, fighting desperately for such a thing. Alice said that their intention is not what it appears. On the surface, it is a martial arts tournament. In reality, it is a contest for reputation among the noble factions. They send their own knights to suppress each other. But for the knights, this is something that can improve themselves. Especially for those wandering knights. They have no lords to serve, and are as miserable as vagrants on the street. To gain the favor of the nobles, they would risk their lives even more. Skeleton Soldier, are you suggesting something to me? Alice vehemently denied, I'm not. At this moment, someone came to notify, Sir Knight, get ready to take the stage. Alice told him to eliminate everyone. Skeleton Soldier, on the other hand, wanted to keep a low profile. Then, accompanied by the enthusiastic cheers of the audience, the competitors from both sides took the stage. Ramon once again reiterated the competition rules. The match would end if the opponent was unable to fight back. Falling out of the ring or surrendering would result in an immediate loss. Who exactly can win? Skeleton Soldier looked at the wide arena and thought it seemed unrealistic to push him out of the ring. He gave up on the idea. Hammer Guy made a flurry of trash talk. You weakling. I can smash you with one hammer blow. I can take your place and become the knight of the noble family. The Skeleton Soldier used the insight skill. Checking his attributes reveals that he is a simple-minded, brawny brute. Then Ramon announced the start of the match. You could see Hammer Guy swinging his hammer. He charged at the Skeleton Soldier, ready to kill with a single blow. The Skeleton Soldier stood still without dodging. Hammer Guy kicked off with both feet, then immediately jumped. The audience was very excited. Skeleton Soldier gripped his sword, waiting for him to come closer. Hammer Guy raised his iron hammer and leaped down. Following that was a thunderous boom. The iron hammer came down. The floor was not spared and was smashed to pieces. Just when he was feeling triumphant, he looked completely shocked. The hammer broke. He then turned to look at the nearby Skeleton Soldier, wondering when it had flashed to that spot. The Skeleton Soldier earnestly persuaded him to surrender, but he just wouldn't listen. He angrily charged at the Skeleton Soldier and threw a punch. The Skeleton Soldier dodged in time. Next, the Skeleton Soldier used the hilt of the knife. He struck the back of his head. He immediately lost consciousness and collapsed to the ground. The audience was also extremely shocked. His act of defeating the enemy with a single move. This also fits his Loki image. In an instant, the entire venue fell silent. After the Skeleton Soldier reminded Ramon, he finally reacted. He then announced that the winner was Skeleton Soldier. This nearly perfect move to defeat the opponent won the cheers and applause of the audience present. He enlivened the atmosphere of the competition venue to the fullest extent. The on-site effect was also unprecedented. Skeleton Soldier was also taken aback by this overly enthusiastic response. Goodness, what's going on here? It seems that Skeleton Soldier's Loki style isn't really that Loki. Alice is also happy for them. This Skeleton Soldier's first battle in the arena also concluded perfectly. After the Skeleton Soldier's first victory, he continued to win several more battles with an extremely Loki demeanor. He fought every battle with extreme ease, as if bullying elementary school students. This clearly matches his Loki style of doing things. He is the dark horse of this tournament, sweeping through the competition. He won the cheers and shouts of countless spectators. After consecutive victories, he advanced to the quarterfinals and took a break at halftime. He was wandering in the corridor when he suddenly saw Alice being harassed by a group of men, and they were even getting physical. Skeleton Soldier certainly had to step forward to help. The scene of a hero saving the damsel in distress was unfolding. You bunch of old bald men! Keep your hands off her! If you have any issues, come at me! As a result, the bald men really did approach Skeleton Soldier. One of the bald men grabbed his hand and said obsequiously, We finally found you. There's nothing major, we just came to invite you to serve as the knight of our merchant guild. As long as you join us, we will offer double the salary. No, we'll offer triple. As long as you are willing to come, the price is not an issue. Skeleton Soldier, because of having a mission, quickly found an excuse to decline. Talking about money is so vulgar. After all, I am so low-key. Let me tell you. No matter how much you offer, I will never betray the Traku family. This is a reason that even a ghost wouldn't believe. Alice felt a bit awkward. Seeing this, Baldy still planned to try persuading again. Suddenly, there was a scolding voice. Nagging. Annoying. You're so loud I can't sleep. This drunkard named Tyre spoke in an unfriendly tone. Then he called the guards to throw them out. Who is this guy? This is your next opponent. What? A drunkard? How did he make it to the quarterfinals? Skeleton Soldier muttered softly. Then he used the insight skill to check the drunkard's attributes. The result was unexpected. Except for the name being displayed. The rest of the information couldn't be viewed. He didn't believe in this nonsense. Tried again. Same result. Unbelievable, this was the first time such a situation occurred. Could this guy be a master of disguise? Forget it, thinking too much is useless. We'll see the outcome on the field. As time goes by, the quarterfinals of the martial arts tournament have begun. Skeleton Soldier is on the field, ready to go. As a result, Tyre looked nonchalant and casual. Where is the bathroom? Hurry up, I can't hold it anymore. He left Ramon next to him stunned. After some persuasion, the game could finally start. Skeleton Soldier thought it was just a drunkard. He couldn't stir up much trouble. He immediately charged forward with his sword. After all, striking first gives the advantage. However, Tyre was still mumbling about needing to go to the bathroom and hadn't assumed any defensive stance at all. It's over. Skeleton Soldier raised its sword and slashed at Tyre. Just when he thought this match was about to end, Tyre's figure flashed past rapidly and disappeared. Skeleton Soldier was greatly surprised and thought, "This is bad," before he could react. Tyre, like a gentleman, he stood behind him with his sword. Still need to go to the bathroom. Better finish the fight quickly. Imperial swordsmanship first form. Skeleton Soldier suddenly turned its head. All that was heard was a thud. Skeleton Soldier raised its sword, barely parrying Tyre's attack. This seemingly simple strike, yet it knocked him back a great distance. He barely managed to block it. This made the Skeleton Soldier dare not take it lightly. Tyre was also a bit surprised. Not bad. Originally thinking of a quick victory, he used his full-strength strike, but it was blocked by him. Skeleton Soldier only now realized that he had underestimated his opponent. Then let me try this move again. Imperial swordsmanship, first form, fifth move. Tyre leapt into the air, the sword in his hand transforming into countless phantoms. He thrust towards the Skeleton Soldier, and Tyre's attacks became faster and faster, causing him to continuously retreat. He could only barely defend himself. I really didn't expect that. In this god-forsaken place, besides good wine, there are actually people to keep me company. But you still have a long way to go. Tyre pressed down hard on his sword. Then he suddenly lifted it sharply, directly exposing the Skeleton Soldier's weakness. He then aimed at the armpit and thrust sharply. At the critical moment, scared, Alice stood up and shouted, "What happened in the end? Please keep watching. Like and follow." But Tyre suddenly sensed something was wrong. Skeleton Soldier took advantage of his moment of distraction. He executed a knee backflip to create some distance. How strange indeed. Obviously, it had already struck him. Why don't I feel anything? Skeleton Soldier breathed a sigh of relief.